Hi, I'm Gabby, and welcome to Gabbing with Gabi. In this series, we sit down with fellow wet on wet oil painters who have brought their knowledge and talent to the internet and to the world. This gives them a chance to sort of put down their paintbrushes and just talk about themselves. And it's also a great opportunity for all of us to get to know them on a better level. So, our guest today is Harold. Harold, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Harold Weeks, and I'm on YouTube at Painting with Harold. I'm from Mississippi, and I just love painting. And Gabby, I would like to say thank you for having me on the show today. I think what you're doing is
Yes,
awesome.
and thank you. Thank you for coming on. It's much appreciated. Gives me a chance to pick your brain. Okay, so let's talk about your preferred type of paint. What is your preferred type of paint, first of all?
Preferred would be oil. Um, Sometimes I like the combination of oil and acrylic, because you can put down a base of acrylic and use it as a dark color and come back over with oil. Uh, but oil is my preferred.
Okay. And what is your preferred subject matter?
I guess preferred would be landscape. It's a little more simple in style, and yeah, I'd say landscape preferred.
Okay. And do you like to do other things besides landscapes?
I do. I like doing photorealism. Um, it's a little more involved and a little more intense than landscape or what you would consider, I guess, the wet on wet technique. It's a little more involved, but I do. I like doing it. It's lengthy, but it's relaxing.
Mhm. Um, how did you get started oil painting?
Oh wow, what a story. Um, well, as a kid, I was always drawing, and I could have probably won awards with my stick men. They were they were on point. I practiced a little more at drawing, and I got decent at it. I never was really really good, but one night, what got me started in painting. Uh, as a child, my dad's boss, his wife was a painter, and watching her, it really inspired me to want to be a painter. But one night, my wife and I were sitting around the house watching TV, and she was a couponer, and she's in a bunch of groups that send out messages if something is going on, like a big sale. And she said, Dollar General's having a huge sale. I said, on what? She said, arts and craft stuff. They got paint and canvases and brushes and glue guns and heat guns and just all kinds of stuff. I said, well, let's go see what all they got. And the trip to Dollar General turned out to a trip to three Dollar Generals, and we bought everything they had that was on sale. And we ended up getting close to $400 worth of stuff for like 78 bucks. So I came home and got out the landscape paint and done my first landscape in acrylic. And I had some very inexpensive brushes that came from Dollar General, and I had an expired debit card that I used as a palette knife. And I did my very first painting. It was a little mountain scene that turned out to be one of the ugliest paintings I've ever done, but the one I'm the most proud of because it was my first. So yeah, there you go.
And how long ago did you pick up oils?
Oh, I've been oil painting now about 5 years.
Okay, wow.
Yeah,
Um, do you have other hobbies outside of oil painting?
yeah I do. I have some cockatiel birds that are a real big hobby of mine. Hunting and fishing's real big here in my state. I'm just now starting to venture out into hobby photography, not professional by no means. Uh, I enjoy cooking, you know, smoking like on smoking food outside and grilling. I know that don't sound like a hobby, but it is. Really, anything that I can do without a lot of trouble because I am a disabled veteran. So I'm kind of limited as to what I can do, but I do what I can.
Awesome. Um, is there any specific artist out there that really inspires you to paint?
If you look back at history, I would say basically all of the century old painters, all of that as far back as all the history painters that you can name, all have an influence. around here, or not around here, but ones that I've actually come in contact with was when I got my Bob Ross certification. Nick Hankins, he was our teacher, and Nick is a wonderful artist. He's very inspiring. His wife Ada is very inspiring. When I went to New Smyrna, is when I actually took my photorealism class from David Brancato, and David was very inspiring. And David is one of those guys that is just meticulous. He is a perfectionist, if you will. I mean, he was having some brushes made, of his own on his own line, and they had to be perfect. They had to be the perfect brush, and he ended up with what I would consider the perfect brush. I own a few of them, and well, the two that's in his line right now, I own them, and they are amazing brushes. I mean, they really are. So, David Brancato, some of the guys on YouTube, and I don't want to start mentioning names because I'm scared I'll miss somebody, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But you're an inspiration. What you're doing is. I've seen your work, and you're a good artist. And this interviewing of the painters, wow, that was an idea I'm glad you came up with.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope it goes in good places.
I think it will.
Yeah. Any specific landscapes that you really like to paint, or places that really inspire you?
I love mountains. I like waterfalls, seascapes. I'm not real big on the beach. There's our beach is like 5 hours, maybe 6 hours from me here. Down on the Gulf Coast. Don't spend a lot of time on the beach, so I seem to struggle a little with seascapes. Every time I paint one, my wife says it looks like a tidal wave. Every wave I paint is this like big surfing wave. Now, there is a Bob Ross painting, the lighthouse one that he does. I think it's called Night Light or Light at Night, where the sea is not as violent. I've painted that one several times, and I do like it. It was the first time I painted it. It was a challenge because of the clouds, and clouds was one of those things that just killed me at first. I could not paint a cloud. I was painting cotton balls every time, so I just practiced on clouds, and I got to where I could paint them, to where I'm happy with them. But I would say mountains and waterfalls, anything along those lines is my favorite.
Okay. So you talked about clouds being difficult. Was there anything when you first started oil painting that you're like, this is so easy?
I found color mixing fairly easy because not that I've studied color theory, but just general knowledge of, I guess I've acquired over the years. I kind of knew, blue and yellow make green, and yellow and red make orange, red and green make brown. Color mixing was not real difficult. Pulling down reflections into the water. Wow, is that not simple? So yeah, those things were pretty easy.
Okay. Is there anything that you're still sort of trying to master right now?
All of it.
Yeah.
All of it. I mean, it's to say you've mastered it, that's a big statement. And I haven't mastered it. I've mastered none of it. So
is there anything specific about you that you think makes you unique as an artist?
Other than the fact that I'm just me, I'm unique in my own way, that I paint for me. I paint my style. And on my YouTube channel, I probably said it enough that people are sick of hearing it, but I try to paint what works for me, and I try to teach what works for me, not what works for somebody else, because their method may not be the same as mine, and I don't want people to leave after they've watched me being more confused than they were. So use your own style, whatever works for you. Just because Billy Bob over here said you got to do it this way, don't mean you have to. If you found an easier way, then hey, I think wet on wet is not accepted in the art industry because it is the lazy man's way of painting. And I think that as far as uniqueness, just being yourself is what really sets you apart.
Yeah, absolutely. Why did you decide to start making videos and doing the YouTube thing?
That's a real good question. I've asked myself that. Okay, when I after I became a CRI, I started doing classes, and that was going really good. I was having a ball. And as an artist, whenever you're painting alone, it's still fun, but it's not as fun as if you're painting with someone. And when COVID came along, it kind of shut the teaching down. Even when they had several different rules that you could have this many people. People around here were still afraid. I live in a small town, so it YouTube was an outlet that allows me to talk to an audience, even if it's an invisible audience. Even if they're not there, in your mind they're there. So it's like you're painting with somebody, and I kind of enjoy that.
Yeah. Even though when you feel like you're talking to yourself, you have to remember somebody's out there and they're going to hear you.
Oh yeah, they do. I've got to say, with the subscribers I have now, if they see this, I just want them to know how grateful I am that they have subscribed to my channel and that they do watch. I mean, I am so grateful for it, because without them, it'd just be dead space. I mean, it really would.
Yeah. When you first started oil painting, is there anything specific that you really wish you had known when you first started?
Well, you know how to ask a question. Yeah, I really wish I had known how messy it was. It's as a teacher, it's even more messy than just doing it for fun, because instead of your brushes, you have to clean all the student brushes and all the buckets and all the trash that's left over. So I wish I'd known that how much of a mess it was. I kind of had an idea of how easy it was or how forgiving it was, because I actually painted with the CRI a year at least before I went to New Smyrna to take the classes. Uh, Never realized it was such a mess, until until I started doing it myself. So that.
Yeah. Um, in the process of doing classes, not taking classes, but hosting classes, has there ever been anything that any students have done that has been particularly memorable to you?
Yeah, there was one girl I remember, and her family were really good customers. They would come, and they would bring all their kids, and their kids would come with them, and it'd be like a family outing for them. Um, I was given an example on a waterfall painting, and it had some big rocks in it. And as an instructor, you walk around, and look to see if anybody's having any problems. And she had done her rocks in a different way than I showed. And I saw her rocks, and I said, "Wow, show me how you did this." And she did. And I actually ended up painting my rocks that way in the future. I mean, they were beautiful. I mean, she done a really good job on them, and that really stood out. And I thank her for it, because it was way more simpler than what I showed. I think it was a happy accident. Is what I think it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, that stood out.
Yeah. That's
Excuse me.
I haven't done big classes, but I've taught people individually. And even doing that, like when I'm teaching them, I learn how to explain it by teaching people. You know what I mean? Because it's like you never really think of certain things until you're having to, regurgitate it out to somebody else.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Let's see. What advice do you have for new painters?
For a new painter, in oil or acrylic, either one,
Whatever.
I would say find somebody that's painting, whether they're a Bob Ross painter, or whether they're the I can't remember what that other one's called, but it's not important. Just anybody that's painting, even if it's a friend or a colleague, find somebody that's painting and get with them. Take a class, sit down with them and paint, and make sure it's what you want to do, because you don't want to just run out and buy a bunch of oil painting equipment to go to painting, because it's really expensive. If you go to adding everything you got to have, it can get really, really expensive. And if you find out it's not what you wanted to do, well, you're going to lose money when you go to sell it, because it's only worth about half of what you gave for it. So that's the advice I would give, and be ready to practice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're going to jump in with both feet and the first thing you do is going to be a masterpiece. It's not. I mean, it's just not going to happen unless God has gave you a talent that you're not aware of. Your first painting is not going to be a masterpiece, but it's your painting. So regardless of how it looks, be proud of it. And that would be my advice to anybody wanting to start out.
What do you think the future of oil painting holds for you? Do you think it's something you're going to do long term, or something that's going to be just sort of something you do for a couple of years and then move on from it?
if I can hold a paintbrush the day I'm probably dying in the hospital, I'll probably be painting.
Yeah.
I never want to quit.
Yeah.
So.
Let's see. Is art something that runs in your family? Do you have other artists in your family, or is it just kind of you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
What was your sort of your family or your spouses, maybe some friends? What were their reactions to you when you first started painting?
None of them knew I could paint. None of them knew. To be honest, I didn't know.
Yeah.
They were very supportive. My wife is super supportive. She, like I said, she's the one that got me really started. You're a woman, I mean, your husband goes to, I assume you are married.
Yes.
You go to great lengths to help your husband find a new hobby.
Not usually, because he already hunts and fishes, and I'm busy with my hobbies.
See, that's just it. My wife helped me find a new hobby, and
That's awesome.
So I'm fortunate. I really am.
Yeah.
She is as supportive today as she was when we started. And I've tried to get her to paint, and she is, oh my God, she is a magnificent arts and craft person. She does some of the most beautiful little, I call them something that I can't say on your channel, but she's good at it.
Yeah.
And she's just not interested in painting. And I said, okay, I quit bothering her about it because, I thought it'd be pretty neat for us both to sit down and paint, but she's not interested in painting. So there you go.
Yeah. And I think there has to be something deep inside of you that loves it, even though you didn't even paint, because if it's not there, it's just not there.
That's right.
Let's see. Do you sell your work?
Yes. Most of my paintings are sold locally. I've sold a few online that, had to be shipped. I don't really advertise it for sale. I probably should, because at $1 a painting right now, I could probably go buy a new car. I've got them stacked up that much. It's kind of when people approach you and want to buy a painting, whether it be on Facebook or whatever, it's such an humbling experience. I mean, the fact that somebody wants to give money for something you did by hand, that's incredible. So yeah, I do. I give paintings away as well. Like I said, I don't, I just don't push the advertising them that they're for sale. I'll place them on Facebook sometimes, and somebody say, "Oh, how much you want for that one?" And we'll get together on it. But it's going to be cheap. I mean, I'm not one of those folks that, I don't think I'm at that threshold yet to where I can make a living off selling paintings.
Yeah, that's a hard thing to do. It really is.
It really is.
Let's see. Oh, my bonus question that I have for you.
What do we win for the bonus?
It depends on how you answer. Let's see. What does success look like to you in the world of painting?
I think when I sold my first painting, I think that made me feel a little better, because at first, people will compliment it. They say, "Oh man, that's beautiful. That's really pretty. That's really pretty." And you get, because an artist is his own worst critic. As cliche as that is, you hear it from 20 or 30 people. You think they don't hurt my feelings, but then somebody comes along, they're willing to buy it. That's different. They're not lying. So that would probably be a moment, when I actually sold my first painting, that I felt like, okay, maybe I have got some good in me.
You do. You are very talented.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I always try to have something nice to say about any artist, but when somebody really is talented, I will happily say it, and you definitely are talented.
Well, I thank you. I appreciate it.
I think we're about to wrap this up. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to kind of share with everybody?
I would say, be yourself. The world has had Bob Ross. The world has had Bill Alexander. The world has had Michelangelo's, Picasso's, Rembrandt's, Van Gogh's. It's had those. Be yourself. Paint to be happy. There's no reason for there's so much competition in the art world right now, and it's unneeded competition. There's no reason for it. It is. We have Facebook groups that have literally thousands of members in these groups, and they could go to a YouTube page. Every member in that group could click on subscribe. It's free to do. You can just click on subscribe. And what you're doing by doing so is you're giving that artist enough subscribers to move up into what YouTube calls their algorithm. And a lot of people are not familiar with how that works. And I wasn't. I'm real new to YouTube. I've only been doing it for like 5 or 6 months. So be yourself and help as many other artists as you can. I have several artists that I went to their page and just clicked, subscribe. But I don't watch every video they post. I probably got subscriptions on my. I can't even tell you who they are, but I knew they were artists, so I helped them out. But it's a competition out there now that's just unneeded. There's no reason for it. If we all paint for the same reason, that is. Some guys may be trying to paint to make a career out of this. My reason for doing it is, number one, just to share my knowledge, and number two, it makes me happy to sit down at a canvas that has nothing on it, and when you finish, you have a picture, regardless of how good or how bad it looks. You created something, and creating art is just an extension of that person's creation. Is all it is. So, God gave me the talent I have, and whatever happens in my life is in His hands. So whether I make money painting or not, that's out of my hands. I have no control of that. It's whatever His plan is for me. That's where Harold's going to end up, right there. So, and I don't sit around and pray about it. God, let me do this for a living, because it's. I don't really know how to say it without sounding arrogant but I don't care if I am a famous artist or not. I mean, who don't want to be wealthy? Money is the seed that grows the world, but I'm perfectly content with leaving these memories that I have behind for my daughter and my stepsons and my grandchildren. Because just this internet thing is forever. Maybe one day one of them can click on and say, "Hey, that's my grandfather. That's my papa." And to me, that's worth more than any money ever. Is leaving behind some little legacy, if you can call it a legacy. But that's I would say be yourself and just enjoy what you do. Don't try to be competitive with it. No matter how good you are, you can look on YouTube or Facebook or anywhere you want to look. There's somebody better than you. I don't care how good you think you are. There is somebody better than you. So that's basically what I would say.
Yeah.
And be thankful. Like, for instance, I hope my subscribers see this, and I hope it helps your channel. I hope every subscriber I got comes and subscribes to your channel to help you. I don't know if the Gabbing with Gabi, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Is that the same as your painting channel?
It's Gabi the oil painter.
Well, I hope they like both of them. I do. I really do. I hope they'll subscribe to both your channels. And I mean, if they, if I've mentioned some painters, while I'm YouTubing, and I try to make sure I have their permission to do it before I do it. And if a painter was to reach me and say, "Hey, man, would you give me a shout out?" I would do it in a heartbeat. I really would. I mean, without hesitation, because that's what it's about to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, at the top of the show, you told people where they can find you. So let's go through that one more time. People can find you at YouTube at
Painting with Harold.
Painting with Harold. And you also have a TikTok, the same thing, Painting with Harold.
I do. That's basically it. Unless they're in Mississippi and in the northern part, then hey, we can do a live class. I'm thinking maybe, after YouTube gets established, I'm thinking about maybe doing some online classes to where I can stream. That's on the back shelf for now, but it's sitting there. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that's it for our interview. If you guys have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section of the video. Harold, thank you so much for coming on. I much appreciate it. It's been great chatting with you and getting to learn about you.
I'm honored you asked. I mean, I really am. It's been an honor to be here, and it was real nice meeting you.
Yes, you as well. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Well, that's it. And I think, like I said, any questions or comments, put them in the comment section of the video and we will both try to address this. I think we're both going to aim to put this on our channels, so hopefully it'll be in both places.
Okay.
If you guys haven't subscribed to his channel, go to his channel and check it out. I'm sure that he would love to have you there.
Oh, absolutely.
He's fun and relaxing to listen to and paint along with, and he has talents that I don't have, and so I definitely would suggest that you guys go his direction. So again, thank you very much, Harold.
Oh, thank
and
you.
you are very welcome. And until next time, guys, I really do hope that you guys fall in love with oil painting just as much as we have. Bye, guys.
Happy painting.